Anthony Joshua has once again found himself in the headlines, not because of a fight announcement or a training camp update, but because of an unexpected drug test interruption while he was in Dubai having dinner with his longtime promoter Eddie Hearn. According to reports, officials from UK anti-doping made a surprise appearance and requested that Joshua provide a sample on the spot. The story spread quickly across social media and boxing news outlets, not only because of the dramatic timing of the test, but also because of the symbolism it carries for a fighter who has been out of the ring since 2024 and is working toward a comeback in early 2026 after recovering from surgery. The situation speaks volumes about the scrutiny Joshua is under as a former unified heavyweight champion, a global star, and one of the most marketable names in combat sports. Anthony Joshua has lived much of his career under the spotlight. From the moment he won Olympic gold at London 2012, expectations for his future were sky high. He transitioned into the professional ranks with ease, knocking out opponents and building momentum until he captured the IBF Heavyweight Championship in 2016. His profile exploded when he stopped Vladimir Klitschko in front of a record-breaking crowd at Wembley Stadium, a moment that cemented him as the face of British boxing and one of the biggest attractions in the sport. Sponsorships, magazine covers, international fan bases, all of it followed. But with that fame came immense pressure and constant scrutiny. Every move he makes, whether inside the ring or outside, is subject to analysis, criticism, and speculation. This latest episode in Dubai is another example of how, as a global star, Joshua cannot escape the watchful eyes of the sport's governing bodies and its media. The drug test interruption may sound dramatic, but in truth, it is part of the normal landscape of modern boxing. Anti-doping agencies operate under strict rules that allow them to request samples at any time and in any place. Fighters are required to submit to random testing because of the constant battle against performance-enhancing drugs in sports. For someone like Joshua, who has always presented himself as a clean athlete and a role model, complying with such demands is not only an obligation, but also a way to reinforce his public image. Still, the fact that this happened while he was having a casual dinner with Eddie Hearn in Dubai made the story newsworthy. The idea of a high-profile athlete being interrupted mid-meal to provide a sample creates a striking image, one that fans and critics alike latched onto. Joshua's career has been on hold since 2024, when he suffered a defeat to Daniel Dubois. That fight was a pivotal moment, one that shifted the dynamics of the heavyweight division in Britain. Dubois, the younger and hungrier fighter, took advantage of the opportunity to cement himself as a new force, while Joshua was left to reassess his future. To make matters worse, Joshua required elbow surgery following the loss, which sidelined him further and left fans wondering if they had seen the last of him at the elite level. At 36 years old by the time he is expected to return in 2026, questions about his longevity, his motivation, and his ability to compete with the new generation of heavyweights are more intense than ever. Eddie Hearn has remained vocal about Joshua's comeback, insisting that his fighter is determined to return stronger and reclaim a spot among the heavyweight elite. Hearn described the drug test interruption as nothing more than standard procedure and suggested that it shows how seriously Joshua continues to be monitored despite his inactivity. From Hearn's perspective, the incident reinforces that Joshua remains relevant, that the anti-doping agencies still see him as a central figure in the sport, and that his name still carries enormous weight. Critics, on the other hand, use the story to speculate, as always happens in boxing when doping is mentioned. Some asked why UK anti-doping was testing Joshua abroad, while others wondered if it signaled doubts about his comeback. Joshua himself has not shown signs of frustration. If anything, he seemed calm, compliant, and aware that this comes with the territory of being a fighter at his level. To understand the significance of this episode, one must consider Joshua's reputation. From the start of his career, he has built his brand not only as a champion, but also as a gentleman of the sport. He has presented himself as humble, disciplined, and respectful, often speaking about responsibility and the need to inspire the next generation. In a sport often plagued by scandals, controversies, and shady characters, Joshua has been marketed as a clean-cut ambassador. That image has helped him secure massive endorsement deals with global brands and maintain popularity even after suffering defeats. A drug scandal would be devastating for someone like him, but thus far, Joshua has never failed a test or given regulators a reason to punish him. That makes the Dubai interruption less about suspicion and more about optics. The sight of officials walking up to him in public and demanding a sample underscores how carefully athletes at his level are watched. The broader context is that boxing is currently in a period where drug testing is under the microscope. Several fighters across divisions have tested positive in recent years, leading to canceled bouts, tarnished reputations, and public outcry. Fans are more skeptical than ever, and the sport's credibility is constantly challenged. When a big name like Anthony Joshua is randomly tested in such a public way, it serves as a reminder to the public that regulators are doing their job, that nobody is above scrutiny, and that the system is designed to protect fairness in competition. Of course, it also feeds conspiracy theories and chatter, especially on social media, where every story is dissected endlessly. For Joshua, the challenge is to manage the narrative, to ensure that fans see this not as an indictment but as confirmation of his willingness to play by the rules. Looking ahead, Joshua's planned return in early 2026 will be one of the most intriguing storylines in boxing. The heavyweight division is as vibrant as it has been in years, with Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce, and others all making noise. By the time Joshua comes back, the landscape may have shifted further, but the demand for his fights will still be there. He remains a huge box office draw, capable of filling stadiums and selling pay-per-views. His comeback fight will be watched closely, not only for what happens in the ring, but also for what it means for the rest of the division. If he wins convincingly, he can position himself for another run at world titles. If he loses, the calls for retirement will grow louder. The drug test interruption, then, becomes part of this larger narrative. It illustrates the pressures of being Anthony Joshua, the constant attention, the expectations, the skepticism, and the responsibilities. Even when he is not fighting, he cannot escape the spotlight. Even while recovering from surgery and planning his next steps, he is a story, a headline, a subject of debate. Some fans find this unfair, others find it amusing, but for Joshua, it is simply part of the life he chose. Fame, fortune, and success come with a cost, and part of that cost is living under a microscope. Joshua has said in the past that he thrives on pressure, that he prefers to be tested, challenged, and doubted. This moment in Dubai will likely be framed in that same light, as another challenge, another test, another reminder that nothing will be easy on his road back to the top. But if there is one thing Joshua has proven throughout his career, it is resilience. From his early days overcoming legal troubles, to bouncing back from the shocking loss to Andy Ruiz Jr., to regaining titles and pushing himself against the very best, he has always shown the ability to adapt, rebuild, and fight again. The road to 2026 will be no different. When Anthony Joshua finally steps back into the ring, fans will not only remember his victories and defeats, but also moments like this one, strange, unexpected episodes that highlight what it means to be a superstar in modern boxing. The Dubai drug test interruption may not define him, but it adds another layer to his story. It reinforces the idea that Joshua is not just another fighter. He is a symbol, a lightning rod, and a man whose every move generates headlines. For better or worse, that is who Anthony Joshua is, and that is why his comeback will be one of the most watched events in the sport.